Kopo ngiyakophoza koko ngiyakokota sikokotela inhloko ngiyihlokoza isiphongo ngiyosibhohoza basibhohozeka ijongo lotshokoza igazi lophophoza liphophozeke sidakwa silokhele kala uphu spikira kokotela bafana niyangizuma nimaze umphatho ANC lana ngiyonqamuka amagatsha manisukela i-IFP khona uyofaka inzila ye-DA for my city ngoba seningihlele esifubeni ukudlula ibheshi le-ZCC.
Siyabonga Nene was born on the 17th of April 1987 in Bergville, KwaZulu-Natal. He lived in the rural areas with his grandmother and his uncles because his mother was working in Johannesburg. His father was a soccer player and used to ride with him on his bicycle to go watch him play his matches in the field. Siyabonga recalls his father being a very good man, but when he was drunk, he became very aggressive and abusive towards him and his mother. Growing up as the only boy out of 6 children, Siyabonga spent most of his time herding cows. He was not privileged to grow up in a wealthy family, but he swore he would live a better life. While in primary school, Siyabonga used to intentionally bunk classes and miss a lot of school days because he didn't like school and wasn't the brightest student. Instead, he listened to a lot of Maskandi and Skatamia music which drew him to like showbiz. His greatest influence came from Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Phuzeke Misi and Imitende. When he was in high school, he eventually moved to Johannesburg to live with his mother. He studied in Sophia Town, but because he couldn't understand or speak English fluently and didn't like school anyway, he decided to drop out in the 10th grade. He then started to work for a truck company and drove the company's van to deliver invoices for them. Siyabonga then saved enough money from his salary and side hustles and bought his first car, which was a BMW 325 at the age of 21. That's when he began drag racing and spinning at the West Bank Raceway for money. Siyabonga claimed that many of his friends got hurt simultaneously in car accidents due to drag racing, so he saw that as a sign for him to step back and stop racing and spinning. Then during that time he lost his job and decided to go back home. When he got to Bergville, something bad happened. Siyabonga got shot once in his lower left rib cage after selling his BMW 325 part by part until all was left was its document. When he got discharged from hospital, he moved to his mother's new RDP house in Vaal, Palm Springs. It was during this time that he had his firstborn child. He quickly realized that he had to make a plan because he didn't have a job and money to provide for his daughter. Siyabonga's mother then hustled and bought him a red Siaya taxi that they got at a hostel in Soweto. He quickly remodeled it and started ranking in Diepsloot, Randburg and Fourways. While in the taxi business, he made about 300 to 400 rand a day and would often send it back home to his family and child. When Siyabonga was in Johannesburg, it was his first time hearing hip-hop. He listened to Mapaputi and Zola, of which he drew inspiration from. Siyabonga didn't have life all figured out at the start of adulthood, and music was not his first choice. But in 2008, he decided to quit being a taxi driver and ventured into music. In 2009, he started writing, performing and creating his own music genre known as Inkabi Rap. Inkabi Rap! Inkabi simply means a hired gun or an assassin that hardly missed their target. It is associated with the violent deaths of taxi bosses around the country. That image is now being disrupted as Big Zulu is polishing the ugly face of Inkabi to be one of the most hip and happening parts of street culture. He claims that he is an Inkabi that is using words as a weapon. Big Zulu's intention was to stay original. He wanted to be his own man and also wanted to draw people's attention to the culture of the taxi industry. Siyabonga did not ditch the taxi rank look, complete with the starter pack of Brentwood pants, Omega sandals and a pointer leather jacket. Big Zulu raps exclusively in isiZulu because he wants his gospel and message to be accessible to all people, including the elderly. In 2013, he earned the title King of Rap in a rap battle contest held by Back to the City. Big Zulu spent 6 years performing as an independent artist without being signed under any record label. Still, his consistency paid off as he started getting recognized by big names in the industry like Ntokozo Sithole. And such recognition did him a lot of good as he soon got signed with Universal record label. Getting signed in with Universal record label was a huge breakthrough for Big Zulu, as he had been opportuned to collaborate with big names in the industry under the label. In 2018, still under Universal Records, Big Zulu released his debut album, Inkabi, which was well loved and appreciated by South African music lovers. Songs in this album told stories of his life and experiences. Big Zulu's collaboration with famous artists like Zakwe, Marazas, Java, Pro, MT, Kwesta Dakar, and Damian Marley contributed to making him as famous as he is now. Big Zulu has experienced success in all his career endeavors. Who would have thought that a taxi driver would become one of the most celebrated South African rappers? Big Zulu has proven that nothing is impossible, and from any background, anyone who is determined can become successful.